Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. To anybody who has watched my videos before, and really there's probably not many of you, but and I haven't posted in a very long time, and I don't really have a following, so a good portion of this is just for me, so yeah. But if you're here, welcome. Hi, how are you? Thank you for being here. But let's just kind of jump into it. I'm going to mix up some dirt and start putting the dirt into the seedling trays, and I'll talk about what seeds I'm starting indoors, and then at some point we'll talk about the plants that I'm going to direct sow outside. But in between, I'll kind of we're gonna do a little bit of therapy talk about myself, and yeah. So I've already got some dirt in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some more because I feel like I'm going to need more. I really don't need much because I'm only starting some peppers and tomatoes, but we'll go ahead and just mix up some more dirt so you guys know what I'm kind of mixing. So this is what I got from Walmart, basic seed starting dirt, and whatever I end up not using will probably be put back into this and either be used for something else or, you know, other plants, thrown back into my raised garden beds potentially. And then we're also doing worm castings just because let's feed the plants. I'm sure there's some type of fertilizer or something in this. I'm not really sure though, but I don't think it's gonna hurt to add some worm castings. I'm not gonna add a whole lot. I'm just gonna add enough, a splash to it, and then I'm just gonna go in with my hands and break down all of the clumps that are in the bag, and then I'll start putting them into the seedling trays, which I feel like I need something underneath so I'm not making such a mess. But yeah, just keep mixing. Yeah, I think I'm going to just I'm not going to put water in this, and I'm going to put water into the seedling trays. I'm going to water the seedling trays after, and then I'll put the plants in. So these are just the seedling trays I used last year. I got from Walmart, and I put a baking sheet underneath. So we're just going to start putting the dirt into the seedling trays, and while I'm doing that, I will talk about why I haven't really posted a video. So yeah. So the last video I posted to this channel, I think, was in 2021, which was when we moved into the house that we're in now. And prior to that, I felt like I was doing like okay. I was posting videos semi-regularly, you know, not weekly or anything, because I don't have enough to say to do that, or enough to do to make that kind of content. And again, this is mostly for myself, and you'll understand why here in a second. I struggle with like a lot of embarrassment, and I have a hard time existing outside of my home and taking up space, and that includes like even on the internet. I'm so embarrassed of myself, and a lot of the time I would make these videos and I would put them up, and I might keep them up for an hour before I delete them or make them private, and sometimes I'd keep them up longer, and then I would, you know, go back and delete them eventually. And I don't think that's fair to myself, because those thoughts of like fear and embarrassment aren't something that are real, really. And I know that at the end of the day, because there's nothing that I'm doing inherently that's embarrassing, you know, or inappropriate. But I've been talking to my therapist, who I've been seeing for the last year now, and she encouraged me to kind of get back into doing something that's going to give me a sense of community and or just a sense of enjoyment, purpose, doing something for myself. And so that's really what I'm doing here. A lot of my videos prior to this were, I had a lot of houseplant videos, but a good portion of my videos were, oddity videos and oddity crafts and whatnot, and spooky themed even, which I love. I still love those things, and those things are things that I would still make videos about. However, at some point I would like to move forward into a more homesteading style vlog channel, maybe alternative homesteading style, once I kind of get into the groove of that. And I do minor homesteading things on the property we live on right now. However, I can't do large scale as much as I would like, and it would be kind of hard for me to make content content outside in my backyard as much as I would like to, just because I have neighbors that are very close to me, and embarrassment, which maybe one day I can work on that portion, but I'm not gonna go that far, because this in itself is out of my comfort zone. Even though I've made videos before, this is still out of my comfort zone. So, that's really where we're at today. And really, actually, I talked to my therapist about this today, which the conversation was today about, stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing something via online, because I don't leave my house super often. I'm very much a homebody, and so community outside of my home, it is difficult for me, but she encouraged me to do something online, and I told her about I used to post a lot more on Instagram, and would sometimes make content on YouTube, and then I would delete them shortly after, which I have since put my videos back up, some of them anyways, most of them, and it's hard for me to go back and watch myself, and there's nothing that I'm doing that's inherently cringeworthy or embarrassing. It's just I have a hard time existing, and existing, in anybody else's world, really, so this might just be for myself, and that's completely fine. I don't expect anybody to be a part of this in any capacity, but this is just kind of a new chapter for myself, I think, that I need to do, because I've been going through some depressive episodes and a little bit of health issues that I don't really want to get into, because it's just more annoying than anything, and insecurity issues with myself, I suppose, is just in general what the embarrassment is. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up this pot, and then I will be back, this tray, and then I'll be back, and then I'll talk you through the things that I'm starting as seedlings and indoors, and then what I'm going to be direct sowing outside. Really, I think these 2 trays should do it. If not, I have a couple more back there, but I think because I'm not doing as much as I did last year, indoors anyways. I tried to start basil last year, and they grew, and then they just didn't have enough humidity, and that's my fault. But next year maybe I'll have an indoor greenhouse that will help me be a little more set up for that. So what we're starting indoor today, which is a little late, but it'll be okay. We're doing, I'm doing Botanical Interest seeds this year. Last year I did, last year I did Baker Creek seeds, but this year I wanted to try Botanical Interest, and really last year was the last year that I did a little bit larger scale gardening. I've done some minor scale gardening, like porch plants, really container planting, and So this year, I'm still kind of doing what I'm going to do, and I'll probably buy some starters from the store. But the seeds that we're starting indoors are, so we're going to do pepper plants, and we're going to do some tomato plants. These are what I'm starting indoors only, and then I have stuff I'm going to start outside. Jalapeno, serrano, because I really like to make pico de gallo, and poblano, yeah. Then the tomato plants I'm doing this year, so I have this one I'm going to do as exactly what it is in the picture. I'm going to get some hanging pots, and I'm going to hang them up on my porch. And then I have another cherry tomato, chocolate sprinkles. And then my larger tomatoes, my slicing tomatoes, are going to be the Cherokee purple tomatoes. And then I got some rootstock tomato plants, seeds anyways, for grafting some of my other seeds onto. I'm not going to graft all of them, and I'm not really sure how many are going to end up in the garden anyways. I may end up gifting some tomato plants to other people if I don't have enough room for them, because I didn't build onto my garden this year. We built what we built last year, and that's what I'm doing this year, because I don't want to commit to anything permanent anymore right now in this house. I may, if next year, if next year turns out to be different, because anyways, we've talked a bit about buying land and building a house eventually. So I'm trying not to commit too hard, and we put a lot of money into the garden beds we built last year, because we built the beds, and then and I already had one bed built that I had cherry tomatoes in the year before, but we built another large raised bed for tomatoes and such, and we ended up having to fill that in. And then we built they're not raised, but they're not fully in ground. They're just kind of bordered off with landscaping timbers, and then I dug out some of it and then put dirt on top of it with dirt that has compost and manure and all that mixed in with topsoil. And so we ended up having to buy dirt last year, and building the beds themselves. So I'm just gonna go with what I have this year, and if next year turns out to be a little bit different, then it turns out to be different. Anyways, let's get to potting. Let me go get some water, and I will be back. What I did is I went ahead and put water in the bottom tray of this. I don't know if you can see it. Can't really see it, but there's water down there. And basically just bottom watering this, and then I'll get a spray bottle and mist everything and make sure everything's nice and saturated afterwards. I think I'm going to start with my pepper plants. And then I'll just label them with these little Burpee plastic seed markers. I bought those last year, and I wouldn't have bought them again, but it's okay. Just because they're not really biodegradable and just don't break down very easily. I'm not reusing the ones I used last year, but I still have them, so I'll probably use them next year and just clean them off with alcohol. I'm starting with my poblano, and then I'll probably just do 2 rows, I think, of each pepper. So I'll probably start another tray afterwards, because I have one more just like this, and then I have the smaller one, but I normally like to use that one for flowers. This is my first time buying from them, so this is kind of neat. Oh, and there's markers on the back. Cool. So you could probably glue this. Anyways, I have a little chopstick, and I'm just going to poke a hole. I think that you plant these only like a 1/4. Yeah, 1/4. So really less than what I just did, but start planting these. Anyways, so like I was saying, you know, I struggle with like embarrassment and self-doubt, and really I'm very self-critical when it comes to myself, and I don't really have a very good relationship with myself. And that's something I was talking about in therapy, and I've been talking about in therapy. It all stems from childhood trauma. It's okay. Really just wanting to do something more for myself rather than for other people. This isn't for you guys inherently, or anybody who watches this. This is for me. But, you know, it's a plus, you know, to have, you know, the idea is to build community and have people who are like, who want to do the same things as you, or, you know, are interested in the same things as you. And that's really what this is, and what I need going forward. I'm going to put this here. This is not marked just yet, but I'm just to remind myself which pepper's on which side. I'm gonna go in with my serrano seeds on the other side of this, and then what I'll do is I'll probably keep this marker here, but with the labeling on it, and then put the labeling for the serranos on the opposite side, rather than having to use multiple of the, you know, for each row or each plant. It's unnecessary because I know what I'm growing and where I'm growing it in the garden. I don't need to tag everything. I do want to, you know, make more of the content that I've made previously. I've been through kind of a depressive couple of years, and when we moved into this house, a lot of my houseplants died from neglect and just not stepping up and taking care of them. You know, I really haven't prioritized myself and my well-being in a long time. You know, I go through grooves of like, it's like a wave, you know, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be a better me. I'll use some of the other seeds I have before I start the next tray. I may not even start the next tray with you guys. I might, I don't know. It just depends. UPS just dropped off a package, so I might have to go get that because it's a time-sensitive package. So I'm planning on doing a Three Sisters garden. I did one last year. My squash were wiped out by squash beetles. My corn ended up not doing super well because I got corn worms were abundant and so yeah. But I have 3 different types of beans because one I wanted to plant with I wanted to plant my bush beans with on the back side of my larger tomato plants. So these are the bush beans that I'm going to plant with some of the tomatoes that I got. And then I got 2 climbing beans, or pole beans. One is going to go into the standard typical Three Sisters garden: squash, corn, beans. So I don't know which one, but I got Kentucky Wonder. Don't know which one's gonna go where. And then I got Scarlet Emperor. And so that's what the standard typical Three Sisters garden. But I'm going to do another Three Sisters style garden with one of the beans, one of the pole beans, and then I got Crimson Sweet watermelon seeds. All these are going to start outside. And then okra, which is just the Clemson spineless 80. Which I grew some okra last year. I didn't really grow enough for it to be abundant. I did mounds for my Three Sisters garden last year, and then I grew a lot of watermelon. Like, I grew way more than I would ever need, so I ended up giving some to my neighbors, and really I grew them partly for my neighbors because my neighbors' kids asked me to grow watermelon for them, so that's what I did. So yeah, I'm going to pot up and label all of these. Anyways, going forward, I don't really know what my goal is going to be and how I'm going to keep up with, you know, coming up with enough content to make. I'm going to try my best. I don't want to make the content super different, but you know, I have a lot of hobbies and I have a lot of things that I do, and I have a lot of animals. Not like a lot, but I have quite a few. And so some of that content could vary, you know, based off of like my mood and what I'm doing. But I'm really gonna try to prioritize plants and maybe some oddity stuff. And I would like to do some homesteading content eventually. And then really, I don't know what else I could do. I don't know where I'm at and what I'm capable of, you know, continuing to make content about, unfortunately. But I do want to be better, and I want to do stuff for me. And I just think that making videos, I enjoy making videos, I enjoy editing videos, even if they're not top tier. They're great, and I enjoy sharing my plants, which there's not a whole lot behind me, but there are some. And yeah. I'm sorry if I seem so nervous, off-putting, but and if you stuck around to this point, thank you. And I'll try to make content, you know, especially some more plant content moving forward. I will, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you could probably go and follow me on Instagram and see some of the content I have. As far as my, you know, garden goes, garden updates, that's where your best bet of seeing everything would be. I have two Instagrams. One is more houseplant oddities, kind of, and then I have another one that's kind of homemaking, homesteading style. So you might see some of my outdoor garden at that point out there. I may take you guys outside to do some of my outdoor sewing. Really just depends on, you know, the day and what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. Anyways, I need to stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching, if you watched all the way through. If not, that's fine. But if you did, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram if you want to see some updates on the garden. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.